friends, we got a patch notes. There we go. 0.5 is coming out tomorrow, and now we know what's going to happen with those very same patch notes. So without further ado, I haven't read these yet. We're going to react to it together. We're going to see what's happening. Let's take a look at 0.5. So they say, welcome to Stormgate. We're ready to conquer the battlefield with the new Stormgates. There's a brand new map called Edge of Oblivion. There also may be a couple others that we saw in one of the teasers. There's like Crimson something, Crimson Tempest, I think it's called, that maybe that's a co-op map and I just don't pay attention to co-op maps, but it shows up in the AI skirmish drop down. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know what's going to happen, whether that is a new map or what's happening with that, but one new ladder map certainly called Edge of Oblivion. Top bar is gone. Okay. Right, with your friends using lobby chat, that's long needed. I'm still very happy that they're sticking to their guns about not having a general chat. I know people want it, but I've seen that literally the first thing you're taught if you're getting into StarCraft these days is just leave general chat. It's not worth it. Get it gone. It's toxic. It's a toxic hellhole. If they want to have it moderated and pay people to moderate, that's one thing, but it's a drain on resources, and we have the Discord. Like I would like to see maybe some more Discord integration, but that's beside the point. There's a new skirmish versus AI queue. There's move line drag, which I'm excited to try out. We're going to have to see how high level players take advantage of it. And there's new art. Read on for all the details. So support, here's how to put a bug report. That's cool. But these are the highlights. So 1v1, 0.5 marks what we believe is the most significant shakeup to competitive Stormgate to date, centered around 3 core changes. No more top bar, no more creep camps, and the introduction of Stormgates. So that's going to be pretty fun. What they say about top bars have always had a unique place in Stormgate, but ultimately they felt like they occupied too much UI space relative to gameplay impact. For new players in particular, they contributed to a sense of overwhelmingness. Is that a word? Being overwhelmed, and hindered the game's overall approachability. As a result, we have reallocated many top bar abilities to other areas within each faction, aiming to create more streamlined experiences. Now, I liked the top bar, actually. I thought it did some pretty cool things. Now, were all the spells where they needed to be? No. But I liked what it did, in that it allows you to have very powerful faction level abilities that are explicitly not spammable. It kind of gave you this nice through line. So like Nightfall Infestation is strong, gave Infernal tools that were necessary at certain points in the meta, but you would only get one of them. It didn't matter how many EVX structure you built, how many EVX unit you built, you would get one of these spells every cooldown. And I thought that was kind of a cool idea. I know not everyone liked them. I'm a little sad that they're actually going to be gone. I would have liked to see more iteration on the idea rather than just kind of removing it. I think it allowed it a lot. I think it did allow a lot of room for like core faction identity to be expressed as well. And it sounds like a lot of these abilities are going to be based on like, command posts and things like that. Sure. But I liked it. I'm a little sad. Creep camps removal. Creep camps have long been a polarizing feature. Common criticisms, including their repetitive nature, lack of excitement, and the way they often encourage players to disengage from direct conflict. After carefully considering this feedback, which we know from the AMB, they started really seriously looking at it at some point last year. They locked on Stormgates like January of this year. After carefully considering this feedback, we decided that instead of further tweaking, we're just going to get rid of it. Okay, fair enough. And try to avoid the pitfalls that creep system gave us. Now, again, I think a lot of the issues were with the fact that level 1 bounties gave gold or gave luminite, and they were all very spread out on the map. But again, you tried it for a year, multiple years, and it hasn't worked out. Sure, try something else. And I am excited about this Stormgate concept. So enter Stormgates, they say, a dynamic map objectives designed to inject tension, decision-making, and impactful rewards in every match. They appear at various points during a game, which now we know is likely one of 5 spots every 3.5 minutes. So at 3:30, 7, 10:30, et cetera, et cetera. Powerful semi-random rewards that can turn the tide of battle. Alternatively, players may opt to ignore them, hoping to deal enough harassment, damage to your opponents while they opt to chase Stormgates. Our goal of the system is to incentivize action and tension on the map while injecting moments of excitement that could swing the game. So, and importantly here, the goal is not to make everyone fight over Stormgates 3.5 minutes. It is to inject points in the game where something happens, whether that is you're building up for the 7-minute time because you want to go for big harassment play because you think your opponent's going to go contest the Stormgate, or you can jump on their army while they're trying to. There are a bunch of different options. I'm excited to see how this one iterates. Choose one of 3 system we've implemented for Stormgates. For Stormgate rewards draws inspiration from modern games across other genres, and we believe it's a natural fit for RTS. The system allows us to inject variability into the game while still allowing for player agency. It gives choice of rewards. Yeah, it's enough randomness that even playing the same map and matchup over and over again, you're gonna have very different games, but also not enough to the point where it's like, oh, I just took this Stormgate and I gave up stuff on the map for it, and there's nothing useful. That sucks. So giving you a little bit of choice there is very nice. I like how it's kind of how Dota does it, right? Where I think they have 4, I guess 3 in keep. When you go get neutral items every phase, you can either keep your neutral or you get one of 3 others. It's a good way to do it. We're increasingly excited to see how players adopt and explore this new system. Over the next few patches, we'll continue expanding Stormgates, new rewards, iterating on mechanics, and introducing new maps that take full advantage of the feature, which is exciting. Also, I wonder what a few patches means, because we're getting closer and closer to that Q3 1.0 deadline. So we'll see how that goes. Looking ahead, beyond refining the Stormgate system, we're turning our attention to Celestial faction. A full design pass is underway, focusing on reducing mechanical confusion while preserving their identity as a highly mobile and adaptable faction. Can't wait to hear your feedback if you dive into patch 0.5. See you in the storm. So this patch is very 1v1 focused, in much the same way that the last patch was very campaign focused. I assume next patch is going to be kind of both, because I think we're going to have to see some big, the fruition of a lot of these big reworks, maybe some new units. We'll talk about that with Monk later today, but also the end of the completion of the first campaign. I think those are probably the targets for 0.6. Now, I don't know. We'll see. But if I was a betting man, that's kind of what I would be expecting. So taking a look at patch notes, in general, all top bars have been removed, specifically Nightfall and Evolution Catalyst, which was the ability to respawn creep camps or take them immediately. Those have been removed. Evolution Catalyst gone because there are no creep camps anymore, so there's no point. And like it instantly take a top bar that would instantly take a Stormgate seems a little too strong. And Nightfall Infestation, not totally sure why Nightfall has been removed. I liked it. I thought it was probably one of the better designed top bar abilities that actually existed in the game. But I'm sure hopefully we'll get a little bit more commentary on that as we go through the patch notes. No more creep camps. There's a lobby chat in custom games. Player automatically join a chat channel when they enter the lobby. All players in the same lobby can freely communicate during pre-game setup. Makes life a lot easier as a tournament organizer. Let me tell you what. Performance. It would be nice if we had out of the lobby chat channels, so I didn't have to organize through Discord for like open tournaments, but it's a step in the right direction. Performance. Increased ping calculation frequency across all server regions to improve connection responsiveness and matchmaking diagnostics. Sure. If you know what this means and you know like what the implications are of this one, let me know in the comments. I got no idea. Replays now have team name or player names, teams, factions, victory, defeat, and map images added to the replay browser. That's so nice. We got maps, I think, last patch, but being able to see who played in that, it makes, it's so nice just to be able to see who played the game, who would I run into, what was their faction, what was the match I played. Awesome. So, new Stormgates introduced across the 3 dedicated maps, adding new dynamic objectives and high value rewards. Stormgates now appear on the following 3 maps. Edge of Oblivion, that's the new one that we saw in the teasers last week. Boneyard has been revamped. We've seen a little bit of that. I think it's a little bit less of a desert map from what we saw in the interview with Alan. And then Broken Crown, which I'm going to guess is kind of this still diagonal split. Broken Crown, kind of like an iconic, very standard map in Stormgate right now. Also, those are the only maps that are playable on ladder, nothing else. Which I think makes sense. It doesn't make, you're testing Stormgates. You want everyone to be playing on Stormgates. Does not make sense to go and not test on Stormgates. Environmental update. The new Stormgate maps now feature the day-night cycle, enhancing map immersion and strategic viability. Those day-night cycles are about 3.5 minutes. Stormgates are open during the nighttime. Stormgate state system. Stormgates pass through several distinct states. Default state at the start of the game is deactivated, takes up ground space, but remains quiet and unobtrusive. Activating transitions from deactivated to active state. It takes 20 seconds to become activated. Now, is that from minute 310 to 330? Or is that from minute 330 to 350? And importantly, will we see, is this just a Stormgate may be opening, or will we know which Stormgate is opening during that activation phase? We'll find out tomorrow, but these are kind of important questions to be tracking. Activated, non-captured. So Stormgate is live and contestable. Teams can battle to claim control. And I believe we'll see how long this lasts. I don't think this lasts the entire nighttime. We'll see. Uncaptured for 85 seconds. Deactivating non-captured. Begins uncaptured for 85 seconds. Takes 20 seconds to deactivate. All active VFX slowly dissipate during this period. So if like you're close, you have 20 seconds to get it working. Activated, captured. Stormgate has been successfully captured. Visibly displays rewards awaiting collection. So that's the one of 3 with kind of different tiers of loot, of different abilities. Stormgate tiers. One Stormgate activates at several random locations at the start of each night. The first Stormgate that activates is tier 1, second is tier 2, and all others are tier 3. And I'd be interested to see if they think about going beyond that, like go to tier 4 or something. I don't know. When they talk about iterating a reward system, I don't know if we need it. But here we get a full list of the rewards. Capturing a Stormgate grants powerful units and relics. Tier 1 rewards. You can get 1 Faerun, which is a ranged creature adept at healing, can use infused life to rapidly heal a single target. So I think if you're Infernals, you're very excited about this one because, hey, you don't have healing in your army, not easily. Being able to go and actually heal your units in this tier 1 setup is fantastic. I'm curious as to whether it heals everything or only heals like biological units. Well, I don't know. We'll see. That could very much change its priority. You can get 1 Creeping Horror, which is a ranged creature adept at slowing enemy units with its attacks, which again, I think you're going to have, slows are in general really good, but I'm curious whether this is single or multi-target, like whether it has some AoE slow or whether it's just point target slow. Because if it's a point target, that's a lot of micro potential if you want to keep getting multiple units slowed, which I think is good for skill expression. But also, it's not going to be super overpowered in 1v1, right? If you can slow down, like do a Nightfall type slow, that's really useful. But if it's like, okay, well, I'm poking the 1 unit. Well, sure, I kind of get a guaranteed kill on that unit as the enemy runs away, but not the end of the world. Soulforged can use Dark Creation to create copies of friendly units, which consumes the relic. Now, is this instant or does this take some period of time? I think at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal, but taking some time would go and extend the amount of time you're interacting with it. I see this one not being all that useful like at tier 1 tech, but I can see players getting a Soulforge and then kind of rushing to tier 2 to get like double Vulcan or double Hellborn or double Cabal. I don't know that there's a really good example at tier 2 for Celestials right now, but like maybe not even double Vector, but I'm blanking on the name of the other one, the great big shooting thing. Whatever that is. Blanking on the name of it, but yeah, something like that. Saber, there we go. Wanting to go and maybe get double Saber. I could see kind of rushing to tier 2 to take advantage of the Soulforge. Shadowmark can use mark structures to permanently increase construction speed, production speed, and recharge rate of structures in an area. Oh, well, I've been talking about this for a long time. Now, I was talking about it as a beta that would go down temporarily, and they said, oh, we're going to make it one better, but I feel seen. This is the idea that I've been pushing for like 6 months now. So thank you, Monk. I have to ask him about that one in the interview, but this, I think, is the coolest one. We're going to have to see what the rates are, but being able to increase production speed, like produce faster, is going to unlock a lot of time. Because I think this Shadowmark, a lot of conversation about soul forges and yada yada. Shadowmark is a terrifying one. Now, it's one that you're going to have to go and take back to your base or set up proxies, and that is certainly something that does give some more interaction time. Also, with the Shadowmark, it could make aggressive options a little stronger. So all of a sudden, you quick build a structure, you Shadowmark that, and then you're starting to like put bunkers up. That could be kind of cool. Also, the Power Stone can use Imbue Avatar on a target friendly unit to permanently increase its maximum health, attack speed, and energy regeneration. So this is, I can see use for things for like, Magmadons and even just a big Brute or something early. But the big value is if you can like stack a Power Stone with a Soul Forge and apply it to some sort of big caster, like make a Weaver more powerful, or, Power Stone up and hold on to it for the next 4 minutes because you're playing Celestials and you got an Archangel up and you got a Power Stoned Archangel. Like those are where it starts to get really strong, kind of holding on to some of these relics to last a little bit longer. Tier 2 rewards. 1 unit, Vile Lurker. Long-range siege creature, adept at dealing area damage and destroying structures. So, you know, that's your Atlas, right? That's your catapult. Infernals are going to be happy about this one because they don't really have a good siege unit right now. Hellborn are good units, but they don't have crazy range. So, and they're not super kitted on killing structures right now. So you're going to be very happy with this one if you are not Vanguard. Realistically, Celestials will love it. Infernals will love it. Cosmic Drifter, flying creature adept at transporting units, which I think is the jellyfish that we saw in the promo, by the way. Capable of holding twice as much cargo as a normal transport. Broken. I'm excited about how broken this is. This should be kind of cool. We're going to have to see how fast it is. But unlocking 16 slots of cargo transit is going to be pretty fun. I think tier 1 is like small changes, but we're looking at this tier 2 stuff, and tier 2 seems really cool. 4 units of a Sky Hunter, range creature adept at stunning and destroying air units with its attacks. Great. Your opponent's going mass air and you don't want to commit to it too hard. You get Sky Hunters. That's going to be just very, it's going to be very just like the game to game, whether that's useful or not. 5 Void Prowlers. Deadly melee creatures can use Shadow Shift to scale cliffs and close distances. So speed creeps. I think those are just speed creeps. Pretty sure those are just speed creeps. Units, 3 units, unstable necrolusks. Very slow, volatile creatures without a normal attack, but can explode on enemies at the cost of their lives. So these other units are things that you want to keep alive for quite a while. But if you can get these necrolusks just on top of thing and just exploding up, that is going to be a very good way to break open some of these bio balls, maybe some of these Argent balls, Kree balls, tier 1 infernal stuff. Again, the numbers are what is going to matter, whether these are strong, too strong, not strong enough, but definitely some utility there. One relic, Dark Throne, can get a free command post. Can get a free, like, you just get a free town hall. Okay. Tier 2 rewards are, I'm not going to say they're insanely broken, but they're kind of at a satisfyingly broken category. Like, being able to just get a free base is awesome. You can get 2 Soul Forges, which means you can duplicate 2 units now instead of 1. And again, we're going to have to, like, if you're on, like, if you have Avatar from tier 1, or Power Stone from tier 1, and then you get double Soul Forge, that's a very powerful timing because you can just duplicate the Avatar unit twice. I think they're going to have to change the name of Avatar, by the way, because the Avatar state is also something that you get from Archangels being landed in the spell they cast. So they can enter Avatar state with that as well, so that might be a little confusing. But tier 3 rewards, reminder, these are like 4 base-ish rewards. This is at 10.5 minutes. This is fairly deep into the game. You can get a deep one. An Apex Void creature adept at dealing powerful single-target anti-ranged attacks. By the way, whoever was naming these is... I see you, Sanderson fan. We got deep ones. We got necrolusks, which sound like some of the... I did not mean to hit my space bar. Let's get back here. The evil people, not quite evil people, but the void bringers. There we go. The void bringers in I want to say Killer Chronicles, but that's not the right thing. Wind and Truth, right, in that series. So deep one, Apex Void creature adept at dealing powerful single target anti-heavy range attacks. Swarm Mother, slow-moving creature adept at relentless assault, can use spew offspring to spawn groups of swarmlings that have a time life duration. So effectively a swarm host, but a single swarm host. And I always saw people talking about when they heard about this one. It's like, oh no, haven't we learned our lesson about free units? It's like, yeah, it's one of them. You snipe it, you kill it, it's done. Like you can't rebuild it you can't get it again for another 3.5 minutes, maybe. Now there may be some things where you like take 2 Soul Forges with a Swarm Mother or something like that, and you get 2 Swarm Mothers, or 3 Swarm Mothers. But even then, like I'm not as worried about this as, Lord Infestor or Swarm Host nonsense. 1 relic, Stormcaller, can create a dimensional storm which damages enemy units passing through its spiraling vortex. Is this a permanent dimensional storm? How long does it last? What is the damage? Does it do friendly fire? A lot of that's going to determine how useful this is. You can also get Power Stones, which are 2 Imbue avatars. By the way, interesting. You don't get Power Stones at tier 2, but you get them at tier 1 and tier 3. And you can get 3 Soul Forges. Okay. So you'll be offered 3 choices. Players have 20 seconds to select a reward by clicking on the appropriate command button. If they don't, it will be random. To balance controls over Stormgates and provide comeback opportunities, Players who have captured fewer Stormgates than their opponents will gain a damage bonus against Stormgates, as well as a small vision advantage around Stormgates. 50% increased damage for each fewer Stormgates captured, so you are doing double damage if your opponent took the first 2 and you're trying to take the third. 1 bonus vision radius around Stormgate is granted or removed for each Stormgate captured difference. So is that Delta 2, right? If my opponent takes the first Stormgate and I'm contesting the second, do I have 1 more range than neutral and they have 1 less than neutral? So effectively, I have 2 more vision radius than they do. And that's what that sounds like. That's actually extremely powerful, especially if you like take the first 2 and then you're trying to claim the third. Yeah. Now you're not. I don't believe. I believe this is talking about players who have captured fewer Stormgates than their opponents will gain will gain a small vision advantage around Stormgate. So the second question here is this all the units getting that vision? Or is this adapting? Because I know the Stormgates are going to like passively give some vision around them. Is that what's changing? Like the vision radius around a Stormgate? Let's say 2 range, 5 range, whatever it is. So is the range granted by the Stormgate 7 range for the player that's behind by 2 if it's assuming 5 neutral and it's 3 for the other player? Or is it like every unit within range of the Stormgate gets an additional 2 vision range? Because those are very different things. And one of those is much more broken than the other. Skirmish mode, hopefully we'll find this in like the numerical notes. New skirmish mode versus AI. You can go and, without going into it, like fully going into a custom, you can play against the AI versus separate difficult settings, which is fun. This already existed, but it's nice to kind of make it a little bit more visible. Move line drag available as an option. You can now drag to spread out your units. When multiple units are selected, hold the right mouse button to drag it around. On the button release, units will evenly space out along that path. It's a great way to quickly spread your units to avoid AoE or shape your army into a concave with a single action. This does kind of indirectly nerf AoE. So we'll see how that's going to work out, whether that's going to need some buffs. Campaign is getting some improvements, though. There's a tutorialization pass in the first 2 hub missions. We've made adjustments to the early game experience to better support new players learning core RTS mechanics. So selection and move tutorial is added to the first 2 hub missions. The tutorials include basic controls in a structured, low-pressure environment before players enter combat scenarios, which is good, I think. NPCs will talk to you, will banter with you when you get close to them, so it's going to make the hub feel a little bit more alive. You can interact with objects in the hub a little bit more. The Fog of War shaders in the campaigns, which Alan showed me in the video that we did with him about a month ago. Fog of War shaders have been created for every campaign level to add new levels of immersion. Bonus objective currency, added bonus objective currency to the post-game screen for campaign missions, so we can see what you earned. Hero ability leveling reworks. Hero levels has been reworked for more streamlined experience. Hopefully it means it works a little bit better with the UI. Hero abilities sync issue in campaign. Here issue where hero abilities and talents may appear incorrect in campaign mode for players using accounts with existing progress. This due to recent changes in the hero ability system. Starting a new campaign is recommended for a clean experience. So if you're trying to play through the campaign, start it again from scratch. And yeah, that's the process of early access. Also fix some audio things. There's a better mixing. All audio should be tied to a mixer now based on this new system. Fiend on death sound that was players sound abrasive, so that's good. New sound effects for Stormgates and Stormgate rewards. New sound effects and announcer VOs for the tribute pyres, which are the replacement for the meat farms. On to new art. We've seen a lot of this in the interview with Alan, but rim lighting is added to all units in each faction. And from what I gather from what someone was saying in the AMA the other day, oh no, that was from when Jesse popped in Discord. This is not the final version of the rim lighting. It's not bespoke to each unit just yet, but it's in there now and it works and it's not causing like big FPS issues. So that should make things a lot more visible. We have a new Sentinel model. We have a new Helicarrier model, although it sounds like this is going to get renamed at some point. Vanguards have new command posts, central command and high command structures, new machine labs. There's new gremlins, which replace the Fellhogs. Pour one out there, marksman. Sorry about that one. Also, new tribute fire, which replaces the meat farm. We're talking about that. There's an iron vault, a new conclave, new ritual chamber. There's the blood tree, which has replaced the shadow cleft, and a new shroud stone. So whoever was saying that the statue is the new shroud stone, I guess you were right. A little surprised on that one, actually. I thought the shroud stone was fine, even in the new model. But fair enough. Balance updates, they're slowing down the economy on top of creeps being removed. So economy should be a lot slower in this patch. Starting worker count decreased from 10 to 7. 3 less workers at start. Each command post now has 50 starting energy and 100 max. Servo overcharge is now tied to the command post. It now costs 50 energy, so it costs all of your starting energy. It increases the movement speed of servos by 50%. So that'll also increase your effective mining rate, by the way. Moving faster. It means you can run away more, but like I fully expect to see players like overcharging on minute 0 to speed up their mining at the very start. I think that makes a lot of sense. Shares a cooldown with all other structures. So you only still get one servo overcharge no matter how many central command, high command posts you have. Central drone is now a function of central command. It is a 50 energy cost thing. And promote is now on high command. That's actually the big change. Promote was a very powerful and very common tool that Vanguard would use to go and win these mid-game fights, mass promote to heal units. That was a very key portion of their early game and why we would often see kind of these central command rushes very quickly. So moving that to high command and nerfing it significantly from 15 to 50 energy cost that's a significant nerf here to the, we're going to have to see if they get if it balances out, but that's a significant nerf to the Vanguard mid game. And I guess the bubble's gone. Maybe it's somewhere else. Reinforce can now target and shield units. Maybe this is where the bubble went. If it targets a structure, the structure gains 100 bonus armor, but not when it targets a unit. Reinforce can now autocast on units that have taken damage in the last 3 seconds instead of units that are in combat. This prevents it from being autocast on sentry posts that happen to be attacking. That's good. Okay, yeah, that's actually really good. You want the autocast bubble on things that are actually useful, not just like, oh, this is attacking, so we're gonna bubble it. No, wait until it actually takes damage. Sentry post can now rally its cargo, which is nice, just quality of life there. Hornets have their anti-ground damage reduced by 1. Yeah, Hornet anti-ground has been oppressive at times. Certainly in the last, it was kind of the only way that Vanguard had to deal with Infernals, but it also felt kind of dumb. So, Infernals. Starting workers down to 7. Players no longer get Animus when units die. So, it looks like the Animus mechanic is removed, which is sad. I thought it's kind of fun that you would get energy not by passive regen, but by killing things. I thought that was kind of cool, but it was difficult to balance early game to late game, where like early game, Animus is coming in at a trickle, and late game, you're always full. So that's fair. Maybe there's another way to play around with Animus later on. New abilities, Summon Effigy, energy cost up to 25, so you can cast 2 of them on starting energy. Cooldown increased from 0 to 5 seconds. Effigy max health off Shroud, decrease or cut in half. So looks like the cooldown increased to 5 seconds, even if you're dropping it on Shroud. Your Summon Effigy did have a cooldown if you dropped it off Shroud, but on Shroud, that would be decreased significantly. Shares a cooldown with all other structures. Okay, fair enough. Hellspawn Resurgence is now Greater Shrine, costs 75 energy. Now, I don't know what the energy replenishment rate is, but that's expensive. You're not going to have this massive, oh, I'm going to have like only one vault, and I'm going to Hellspawn it 3 times to get a bunch of Magmadons out or something, which is fair. And then Shadowfall on tier 3, covers the map in Shroud, just as it did, but it also massively decreases enemy unit vision. So 60% vision reduction. You're playing against Vanguard. That's terrifying. Like, especially Vanguard, because they have some longer range units. That is a terrifying thing to fight into. That's very powerful. And I believe that is, what's that going to be? Is that 100 energy? Forget how much it is, but probably 100 energy. Maybe 75. So that became a lot more powerful with this vision radius reduction thing. Wraithstones no longer exist. They've been removed from the game. You can no longer morph them. A weapon period increased from 1.2 to 1.8, so they attack slower every 1.8 seconds instead of 1.2, but their damage is increased significantly. So this is more powerful against armored unit, or against the higher the armor you get, the more powerful this is, because, well, armor applies to every attack, so you know that's going to work out. What other implications does this have? See, what's damage per second? So this was 27 divided by 1.2, and this is 40 divided by, which is 22. Call it 23. 40 divided by 1.8. So it's the same DPS roughly. It's just about the same DPS. Just it attacks a little bit slower, giving you, like, once it fires, it gives you a little bit more opportunity to kind of dive in. Is my assumption. That is kind of what the goal of this change. Brutes cost have increased to where they should have been all this time, to 150. I would have preferred stats nerfs rather than brute cost nerfs, because it feels weird for like your basic ground unit to be 150 Luminite, but it needed some nerf, obviously. And the bonus attack speed has been decreased from 50% to 25% on a Shroud. It remains to be seen if this is enough, but these are pretty hefty nerfs to brute timings. Massive, significant nerfs to brute timings. Reaper's Rush research time decreased from 90 to 60. So it's like, okay, you're not going to have brutes as much. You're going to play more mixed army. That's fine. Great. More move speed, making it a little bit more accessible. Feels better to play. Hellborn can no longer attack air units, which means you're going to be relying more on Gaunts for anti-air, more on Shadow Flyers for anti-air, which haven't been touched, by the way. More on you're going to be relying more on, honestly, the Shroud Stones, if you can get lucky on some of the Shroud Stone units, I think is how that's going to work. Flight Dragon health has been nerfed again. Health regeneration on Shroud, it decreased from 9 per second to 7 per second. No longer resilient and can be affected by stuns, snares, and mind control. Someone's going to go and mind control a dragon, and it's going to be sick. I'm all for this. I say this as an Infernal player that probably is going to get victimized by this in some way, shape, or form with, it's the, okay, I'm like trying to think what exactly impacts this from the stuns and snares, and there are no air. Oh, this means Cabals actually are going to be able to put it on the ground. Okay, yeah, Cabals are going to be more effective against this. Skybinds are going to be more effective against this. I think those are the big ones. Yeah, I think those are the big ones. Celestials, starting worker count decreased from 2 to 1. Archship Cascade field radius increased from 8 to 10, so you can build more stuff around there. All surge bonuses have been removed. So a little bit, this is like the start of the Celestial rework, I think. Surges were kind of cool, but they were very complicated and very much something that was difficult, I think, for new players to get the hang of. Collection array. Each collection array now has 50 starting energy and 100 maximum energy. So it has a new ability on tier 1 called Power Surge, which is 25 energy, so 2 of them at starting energy. This ability has been reworked. Targets one of your structures, granting it 150 increased production speed, 100% increased movement speed, and 10 bonus HP and energy regen for 15 seconds. Afterwards, the structure will be afflicted with overload, reducing its production and movement speed by 75% for 15 seconds. So this is kind of like the old Saber ability where you kind of speed up and you slow down. Interesting. It's a net positive, but it does mean you're pretty vulnerable afterwards. So it's going to be really great to get something out, and then maybe you want to hold it idle for the next 15. You do get net positive building speed, movement speed, healing, certainly. But yeah, it will slow kind of that down the next cycle. So it does have pros and cons. New ability, Sovereign's Watch. Now charges the collection array instead of a structure near the collection array, which is solid, I think. No longer has 2 charges. Shares a cooldown with other structures with the ability. So you get one. You get 1 Sovereign's Watch every whatever the cooldown is. And that's it. Spicy. Energy cost increased from 20 to 50 on the scan. No longer has 2 charges. No longer has a cooldown. So you scan as much as you want, but only up to 2 times because 100 maximum energy. And it looks like this is going to take the command center effect where it's not tied to other structures. So you get yourself in the, like, that's actually going to be very powerful in the late game. You're going to get yourself like 4 or 5 collection arrays. You're looking at 8 to 10 scans. It's not bad. Prism maximum charge count increased from 1 to 2. Okay. So you start with less prisms, but you can kind of go and we'll see how much of a problem this is, because this does mean you'll be able to instantly saturate bases later on, but I guess that kind of does match how the other factions can also kind of instantly saturate bases. Arc Fortress, say goodbye to Fade's End. I'm sad about that one. We got some fun moments with Fade's End, but I can also see why people didn't like it. If you didn't like it, I can understand why. Kind of sad. Arc Fortress now has the Purify ability, which is now 50 energy instead of 30. Instead of 120-second charge-up time, it has a 30-second cooldown. But you have to be in tier 3, and that's a lot fairer. I think Purify at tier 2 was just way too strong against a lot of this, a lot of stuff. No longer has 2 charges, so every 30 seconds you can drop a Purify. You can also get multiple Arc Fortresses and have multiple Purifies if you really need it. Doesn't look like it's tied. It's not like a singleton charge. New ability, Summon Eon Gate. Energy cost now at 50 instead of 0. Fair enough. Power banks costs have been buffed by 25 Luminite. Energize can no longer be used on structures. Okay. What structures needed energizing? Yes, this is another blow for the Arc ship nonsense, because you won't be able to go energize Arc ships. Strike nodes, the static defense are now detectors, which is good. Eon Gates can now rally its cargo. That's really nice. Apparently you couldn't do that. I assumed you could. I just didn't play Celestials, but that's very nice. Argents have been reworked. No longer has a photocapacitors trait or upgrade. Energy increased to 50. New ability, Heaven Step dashes a short distance forward to a target location, so a little bit more mobility there on the Argents. Did someone say Hydra Lunge? Research it at the Guardian Nexus. High energy cost increase from 10 to 50. High energy now increases the damage of Argent's attack by 300%, up from 100%. But it does cost 50. So is that like one burst every bit of time? I'm not familiar with, like, I know how Argents work, but is the high energy, is that just the empowered shot? So I guess that means you get one 300% shot like every so often. Okay. What is Argent's basic attack here? Let me pull up the Wikipedia 1 second. Stormgate. Argent. Argent does a basic amount of 9 damage plus 2 versus heavy. So they are regenerating about 3 damage per attack. They do not regenerate passively, and you will have power banks if you need to. So if you're attacking heavy units, you're doing 11 damage, which is still, every shot is regenerating 2 energy. So you're gonna have like 1 burst every attack is 2 energy. Well, actually, sorry, they regenerate energy. We don't know how much damage we don't know how much energy they regenerate. Is that 1 point of energy for every 4 attack, for every 4 damage, which means that every attack you're doing like, you have to do like 200 damage to recharge for the big shot? Or is it more? I think if it's 200 damage, that seems pretty weak. If it's more, we'll see. Vector anti-ground increased from 8+2 to 8+3, so a little bit better against gaunts and exos and things like that. Again, it's hard for me to make statements on this because it's all been Infernal Mirror, but Vector's a little bit stronger versus ground, seems fine. Seraphim, Condemnation ability, now deals bonus damage to Stormgates instead of creeps. Ariel, are you listening? Bonus damage increased from 300 to 400%. No longer has the Creep Vanguard passive trait. Okay, so Seraphim are now a harass unit. They have the ability, if you research at tier 3, to shut down static defense, which I think will continue to be pretty valuable. And they're gonna make Celestials very good at taking these Stormgates. So I think that's gonna be really interesting to see exactly how that works out. Bug fixes. Corrected worker count displays when selecting HQs of different tiers to slow accurate numbers. Thank you. That was a big observer problem that was annoying when you're trying to cast things. Units loaded into cargo now correctly update their HP in the unit info panel's health bar, which is useful. An issue where Scout's pounce ability was not doing correct damage. Was it doing not enough or too much? Morphing units no longer instantly finish and visually skip transformation if stunned mid-morph. Fair. Out of Illuminate alerts now appear correctly for Celestial units. Nice. Quality of life buff there. Turrets now properly respect hold position. Out of game, fixed an issue where the score screen would stick on waiting for results, which is nice. Now you're going to see that. Unit's train stat on the score screen was inflated if a production structure was blocked from completing a unit. I wonder if this fixes the observer thing as well, where it would say like 6 Argents are in production because there are 3 in production and 3 queued. Fixed an issue where creating a custom game lobby would hang for several seconds while accepting other UI inputs before opening the lobby. Drag scroll sensitivity no longer resets or changes after adjusting replay. Oh, that's nice. Drag scrolling at 8x speed is just a painful experience. Fixed a bug where changing video settings to low during a cutscene caused the player's screen to turn white. No more flashbangs. FPS drops caused intermittently by the shroud, so some FPS buffs, hopefully. Archangel has an Ascend sound effect now. Descend is no longer overwhelmingly loud when there are multiple Archangels, where Kree footstep audio is typed excessively. Gun selection, movement, attack can no longer be spammed. So just a lot of audio fixes, which I think are just a lot of audio fixes, which is good. Continuing to kind of dial in where the audio needs to be. Added missing hotkeys for the switch vision UI and observer and replay modes, which is good. You could switch to 1 or 2, but you couldn't go switch to everyone. So you can see one player's perspective than the other, but pressing E would not take you back. Resolved an issue where enter key could not be assigned a custom keybind. Interesting. Fixed a bug with the Celestial Hyperdrive upgrade did not have a default key assigned when switching from grid to by command key layout. Yeah. Corrected functionality for custom modifier hotkeys using Control-Shift-Q, Control-Shift-QWERTY, which previously were not registering input. So I know some people were very annoyed about this one. That's a fantastic fix. Okay, so yeah, someone was complaining to me about this. Fixed a critical bug where setting quick macro upgrade advanced keybind to B would trigger multiple errors because that's the default cancel button. Not the one I use, but default cancel button. So fixing that one is good. Fixed an issue where Flayed Dragon did not display its cooldown timer, which is nice. It was kind of hard to track if you're just playing the game as I do with quick macro panel when you're going to be able to get another dragon out. Fixed a bug where Celestial Hyperdrive activated by a quick macro panel was non-functional. Addressed a reliability issue where custom keys for quick macro upgrade menu would occasionally fail to register inputs. Okay, yeah, it's dropped inputs. I feel like I got that a couple times. Corrected display behavior when morphing HQs still show upgrade charges in the quick macro UI when they should not. A couple co-op fixes where the score screen did not display earned XP. Minimap arrows were always oriented forward regardless of player camera direction. Where blockade was always shown on the replay loading screen with the name commander regardless of the actual player or hero used. Custom games fixed an issue where creating or joining it. I mean, this is a lot of bugs fixes, guys. This is a really heavy bug fix patch. Where creating or joining a custom game lobby would hang for several seconds. That's good. UI layering issue where friends list would appear behind the custom game lobby when open, which was kind of annoying. Bunch of campaign. We're not going to read all these, but bunch of campaign fixes as well, which is nice. Issue where the other category. I don't know if this is a campaign or not, but fixed an issue where camera would load at the bottom left corner of the map when we're starting loading a checkpoint. So this is campaign. Firestarter VFX brightness reduced. Amara now has sound effects when she dies. Issue where destructible objects were not displaying minimap icons as intended. So overall, massive bug fix patch. Very excited to see how the Stormgates are going to go. I honestly cannot make any predictions on where the balance is. Because like Infernals, not as strong. The Brutes got nerfed a little bit. Celestials got nerfed a little bit. Vanguard got nerfed a little bit. The economy is going to be significantly slower overall with 3 less workers at the start and no creeps to bolster it. I have no idea how this is going to go. I'm excited to find out though. And I think the Stormgates for kind of a first iteration seem relatively well designed. So I honestly, I don't have solid response to this one. It is so new. It's going to be very hard to figure out. It's going to be very hard for players to figure out how exactly this game is now optimally played. But I'm very excited to find out. I'll be running a Stormgate patch day tournament on Thursday evening, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, where we get a couple players to start to play their way through things. It'll be best of 5s with only 3 maps. Be a little awkward, but it's going to be a good time. It's going to be fun. If you have thoughts on these patch notes, you have hot takes that I've missed out on in some way, please make sure to drop in the comments down below. I cannot wait to hear what y'all have to say. And more importantly, can't wait to see how this patch drops. See you on, as they say, I guess, see you on the gates.